Welcome to my review of 1942 Joint Strike for the Xbox 360. And this took me around 1 hour, 14 minutes to beat. I lost about 16 minutes because one of my runs crashed on the Xenia emulator, so I ended up purchasing the game on the actual Xbox 360. I still have an original Xbox 360, which I use for games I can't run on Series X, and now that I'm emulating Xbox 360, occasionally games that I can't emulate properly, I may also use the old console for those. The game is available for $10 on Xbox Live, but you can only get it on the Xbox 360 store. It may be on other platforms, so look around for that. I didn't research that. Possible that it's a PS3 download game. Not sure if it's a PC game. But it's quite a good little remake of the 1940 series games with a little bit of a 3D graphic upgrade. Pretty much plays the same as those games. And those are definitely classic shooters. And this is one of the better ones probably in the series. It's a quality game. So here you can see some of the basics. I wanted to post this basics screen. It shows you the basics of the controls and how the scoring system works. Basically, if you want to get more points, you want to kill enemies as close as possible to them when they die. And that'll give you a higher score multiplier, which will give you more points, and every 500,000 points you can earn some 1-ups. There's health pickups, there's bombs that clear the screen, and homing missiles that are all limited, but you can collect more, as power-ups that float around the stages. The way you pretty much get power-ups is by killing red groups of enemies. Like red enemies, if there's a group of them and you kill the whole group, you can get a power-up usually. Then that power-up may keep switching to different power-ups, and you can grab the one that you want. That's mostly how that works. There's a few different difficulties available, a few ships available. I beat the game on the default difficulty. I use the Mosquito because it seems to have a little bit more health and a little bit more power output, but it may be slower than the other ships. They all have different stats that it shows you in the beginning there. So aside from that, the game has 5 stages. It has no continues and no saves as far as saving your stage progress. So you do have to beat the full game on one set of lives, but you can earn some 1-ups. You can earn 1-ups from 500,000 points, or you can earn them as pickups, power-ups, basically. And there's 2 that I found that you could pick up on the stages. So that can help. Aside from that, I think you start out with 5 lives. And the different difficulties may affect how many lives you start out with. I'm not sure what the differences are. I didn't try those, but I just played on the default Slick Sleeves difficulty. And I'm going to show a little bit more of the game, and then I'm going to show the final boss fight, which is the hardest part of the game. I do have a full tutorial with commentary covering the whole game, so check that out if you're interested. The whole game is about 30 minutes if you don't fuck up. But if you lose all your lives, you will have to restart the full game. So, it is a 1cc type of game. Here's a 1-up power-up, as you can see. There's only 2 of those that I found. But you got lasers, you got different weapons that you can get, and if you want to power up a weapon, you have to get the same icon of the weapon twice. So if you want lasers, which is the weapon I recommend for the whole game, because it really kills bosses faster and clears out the larger enemies easier, you have to collect 2 of the same weapon to power it up to max power. So if you can have max lasers for most of the game, that's a huge benefit. You also want to kind of focus on getting your score up a little bit when possible without taking too many risks, because the more lives you have for that final boss, the better chance you have of breaking through at the end, and I cover that in the tutorial. But yeah, basically it's a 30-minute game now, and if you're an experienced shooter player, you may beat the game within about an hour like I did, which would be my second full attempt that I would have beaten it on. If it didn't crash, I most likely would have cleared it on my second full attempt. And by full attempt, I mean exhausting all lives. So keep that in mind. Now, if you're less experienced with shooters, it may last you several hours, or you may just not beat the game, maybe too hard. But as far as these types of shooters, if you play a lot of these older school kind of shooters and shit, this would be on the more like easier side. This wouldn't be up there with some of these brutal arcade shooters and things like that I often clear out. I'm used to a lot of one-hit death types of shooters, and in this game you can take multiple hits before you lose a life. So that already makes it pretty easy for me, since I'm used to these one-hit kill games. Now the hitbox is the size of your entire ship, so you got to get used to that. You don't have that tiny hitbox like you do in a bullet hell game where only part of your ship takes damage, and this the whole thing takes damage. So So this is the final boss. A little sloppy here. I did lose 2 lives, but was able to beat it. And I've got here with 4 lives, so that did help a lot. But like I said, it only takes about 30 minutes to get to the end and beat it. So, if you fail, you can always try again, try to get more points and rack up some more 1-ups. The tutorial will show you where the 2 1-ups are kind of hidden. They're not hidden too well, but you'll see where they are in the full tutorial. But yeah, this is the final boss. It can be tricky. You want to try to take out segments of it first and then go for the center. I found that to be the easiest way to deal with it. But yeah, you can take a few hits, like I said, and there are health power-ups. So you can try to keep your lives going for a while. So it's kind of a bit of a survival style since there are no continues. Quite a good game, though. It's definitely a pretty high-quality shooter for these type of games, And that's it. I would give the game a 7 out of 10. I think it's a good, solid shooter. I wouldn't put it at the top, like, best shooters ever or anything like that. Not anywhere in that range, but just a good, solid shooter. It's a fun playthrough. There's not a hell of a lot of replayability unless you're going to maybe go for the harder difficulty settings or something like that, which I didn't bother with, but you might get some replay out of that. But for those just looking to beat a game and play through a shooter, I mean, it's kind of a good, enjoyable shooter to play through. And if you have experience with these games, it probably won't take you too long. If you have any questions, let me know, and thanks for watching.